And there we go, and welcome to Small Business Chat, our morning cuppa and conversation sort of section. Hello, yes, exactly. We're here. We've got Karen from HubFizz, and we also have Alan from Yellow Tuxedo joining us this morning. Yes, I know.
Morning.
Within the frame.
I know. I had to adjust my name to fit in the frame and everything. Morning.
Yeah, absolutely. And one half, we've got to say hello to Emily, who would usually be here, but actually, I'm just thinking size-wise.
We'd be like this or something.
Here we go. But we'll salute you, Emily, as well, because Alan is representing. But we also are talking today about events. Obviously, the world is opening up. There are restrictions that have been lifted, but maybe you might be still a bit apprehensive. I think hybrid is the way forward in terms of when you're doing marketing work or even business. So that also might apply to events as well. And who better to talk about events, both online and offline, than Yellow Tuxedo? So hello, welcome, because tell us a little bit more about what you do for Yellow Tuxedo, how you help businesses, and a little bit of background about yourselves.
Thank you, Christelle and Karen, for having me on today. Thank you to Emily for letting me out loose and while she's having a haircut. If you want to go to our Insta story at Yellow Tuxedo, you can see a picture. She FaceTimed me to check up on me before I came on here. This is true. So thanks, Emily. Right. So Emily and I, my wife and I, we are Yellow Tuxedo, and we are digital visibility specialists. And what that basically breaks down to is we show businesses, brands, people how to grow their business online, because online is ridiculously exciting, and I think some people still see it a bit challenging. It is kind of scary at times because it's so big and overwhelming, and we like to think we help our clients understand a purpose, give them a strategy, and then actually how to blimmin' do it, which is kind of half the battle, really. Because there's this knock-on from growth online of like opportunity, and it's such a big opportunity, as simply as meeting people like you. I've never met you in person, but we met online, the opportunity of meeting new people, but then as well as clients and new revenue streams and everything else. And it's just about understanding we're all global businesses nowadays. So how do you make the most of that?
Oh, amazing.
Fantastic. Yeah. And can you tell us a bit more about your sort of background in events? Because I know we've got this online, offline things. Do you miss them? What are kind of the benefits that you think we're missing from real life events as opposed to online ones?
Yeah, straight in. So a background in events. Emily always laughs when I start with this one. So we've both started in scouting, right? We're still kind of attached to scouting. And in scouting, you start planning things from about the age of 10, 11, 12. So, you're organizing patrol camps and kind of trips to, I don't know, the local corner shop to buy some sweets or whatever, right? But it's just slowly ingrained in you. And then all of a sudden, I'm an event manager for a company in Bournemouth called Funny Bone Events. If anyone remembers them, but they're not about anymore. I don't think they are, actually. And Emily was starting to do events for the Forestry Commission and other roles. And then it becomes a skill that you don't kind of realize you have. And you kind of don't always understand why other people can't do it. And you have to get your head around that. And then we started and always outdoor events. And then, long story short, got made redundant, all the normal sort of stuff. And we thought, well, let's start up another business. We'll start up our business, sorry. And we started this business putting bell tents up for weddings and events. So we were there. We decided we didn't want to be there on the day. So we wanted to be involved in outdoors or events, but not on the day, because that's when you have to deal with the real stress. So we thought, what could we do? And we've been putting tents up for years in Scouts. So we thought, let's put tents up, bell tents, beautiful stuff. But very quickly, once again, that skill set we had of events and outdoors events that had been built into us from kind of the age of 10. And we became outdoor sort of wedding specialists and outdoor event managers and things like this, kind of under the brand we were working on. And we were doing way more than just putting up tents. And then there was this shift into Yellow Tuxedo. We wanted to kind of move away. I mean, as glorious as it sounds being outside, when you're sort of putting up 20, 30 bell tents for 100 people on the hottest day of the year and the sweat's coming out of your eyeballs, it's like, there's slightly kind of nicer things and art to do. And our kids were getting older and we wanted this shift into digital world. So that's where Yellow Tuxedo came about. But the event part never left us. And it actually started for Yellow Tuxedo just before lockdown. So it was Christmas. I get lost on the dates. So the Christmas before lockdown was our first Yellow Tuxedo event. And I'll come back to that because it wasn't a big one. And we need to look at event in a broad term, right? We're not talking Glastonbury. We're talking an event, if that makes sense, a get together, something, a gathering. That's what we're talking about. So in the early stages, they were in person. What was the question? I've gone off on a right ramble here.
So do you miss them? And like what you think the benefits were from sort of like real life events, and then also how that's transitioning into virtual, but yeah.
Do I miss outdoor real life sometimes, like but then it's a personal thing, so I make sure I get out. I make sure I get out the house every day for a walk. We do the kids school run, and we go out at the weekend and we drive off to random places. Interestingly, when we were well in outdoor events, we stopped. The need to go off exploring disappeared from us. For about 5 years, we just felt we never needed to go and do it. But now we're not doing outdoor events. We feel personally we need to go off exploring again. And that's kind of an important part of us, because yes, Yellow Tuxedo and that business, Bay Lily Bell Tents, seem very, very different. But fundamentally, they both gave us personal things, which was adventures and events and things like that. So that ticked our personal requirements.
So what would you say then, Alan? I've got to ask, in terms of like seeing how you've grown that digital, sort of like the Yellow Tuxedo community and that in person, because I mean, again, lockdown hit, you've just started Yellow Tuxedo, and now you're trying to build this community up. So you've got the outdoor in life, real life events and meeting people, and all of your experience over the years. You've probably seen how that's connected, and you do such a good job. I mean, honestly, within the Digital Circus membership, how you connect with your members. Honestly, I wouldn't say this if I wasn't a member myself, and even I can't attend, I still feel connected. Like if I'm not able to make it, but I still get the news. Like there's all these different ways that you keep us involved. So that's a really hard job. So it's like, how have you found the difference? Has that been a struggle for you? Do you feel like one's harder than the other in terms of replicating that connection?
No, I don't think. Right. So I think digital, and please no one in digital world shoot me for this, it has to be easier, okay? Because I can do it from my sofa with my computer on my lap and my phone in my hand. When you are outdoor events, in real person events, you are on the ground, right? Up at 5, you're in a car, driving to wherever to set up. You've got people kind of ringing you up going, why is this in the wrong place? We did a wedding once and we put these bell tents up. The groom had signed off where the bell tents went. Bring my hand over. Groom had signed off. Bride turned up and went, no, they're not going there. We had to take them all down and move them all again, right? So fundamentally, digital has less manual labor, is less labor intensive. Time, yeah, it's the same amount of time, because I can still get up at 5 and start working, and I can still be working at midnight because we're trying to make it the best event ever, or whatever the goal and the benchmark of success is. So that's super important. But because real person is so much more labor intensive, I think it has to be more difficult. And that's the bit interesting that Emily and I just wanted to remove for a bit. It had been so full on, that we just wanted to. We'd done the decade. We're like, okay, let's have a bit of that sofa surfing for a bit.
Yeah. You needed that.
And I think you've got some of the other stresses we were talking about earlier of the online, is that the technology might just stop working. So there, you've got the weather and real time events, haven't you? You've got the weather to contend with. You've got people changing their mind, and it's actually a big labor intensive job to change it. And you've got to be kind of on your game the whole time dealing with people. But online, you've got that different kind of stress, haven't you? Because it is kind of, you're trying to read people a lot more, as we've seen in Zoom fatigue and all of that. And then you've got technology. Yeah, things go wrong, don't they?
No, totally. And funnily enough, I don't know if anyone knows Mark Masters from You Other Media. We had the same conversation with him. So he does quite a lot of hybrid and online stuff as well. And we met once in person, and this conversation happened briefly. And it was like, yeah, actually, it's really stressful. Is your internet? Emily and I live in the sticks. We're very lucky to live in the sticks, but that means our internet's a bit slow and it likes to go down periodically. Have you got a computer that can handle live streaming? Does your internet speed handle live streaming? What's your microphone? We're using Hopin, that I know we're going to talk about in a bit for the Digital Circus Live on the 5th of April. And there's a lot of tick boxes that if I don't tick the right box on the day, it won't happen. It won't happen. People won't be able to do what they think they're going to be able to do. And you've got to almost take that virtual experience when you're going to that sort of level. I want to talk about kind of starter events in a bit, but when you're going to big one-day virtual conferences, you have to kind of visualize it as though people are actually doing it and what do they need to do, especially when you're not using Zoom. One of the limitations of Zoom and where Zoom fatigue came from is it's one directional. The host that owns it, they let you in, you sit there listening, you might get a breakout room if you're lucky, and then you switch off. I'm not anti-Zoom, I quite enjoy it, but fundamentally it's very one directional with Harry and the rest of them. But so when it comes to other things, it's about what can you create, but that brings more stress. It always brings stress, but then there is that I'm a big believer in, and apologies if I say something wrong, like pulling up your pants and getting on with it. Sometimes I say big girl pants, but Emily says you can't say that, you have to say big boy pants. But then I'm nervous about saying big boy pants, so just pants, trousers, pull up and get on with it.
Just pull them up.
It's a minefield. But what they say, if it doesn't stress you out, then you're not growing, and that's the same with physical exercise and business. It needs to be a little bit stressful as long as you can manage it. I know the people are going to disagree with that, but I think it has to be. And understanding where those we really don't like it, actually. We both try and make our life as simple as possible. Like, one of the things about our digital visibility specialism is Emily and I strive to make things as simple as possible, like literally in our lives. So that's what we impart on our clients and Digital Circus members, is like, it can be done. You can make it simple. So because we like that in our life. But I think we'd be bored if there wasn't an element of stress. We would absolutely be bored.
I will have to then say, because you talked about like small businesses, because I love this, you're trying to make it simpler. And one thing that I would say, I'm finding this fascinating, is because events is usually what would also fall under my remit. We would do events for clients, but actually when you listen to somebody who's in like digital talking about online events and all of these other elements that we have to factor in, it's a really good crossbreed of listening to actually what you might not consider. It's easy for somebody to say, yes, we'll do an event, but actually listening to the nuances of what you have to factor in, like, this is really helpful. And you talked about small businesses, so let's start with them first, because you said like there's all sorts of different events, and there's so many benefits. So should we talk with that one first?
Yes, because I think like Emily and I were talking about this yesterday before she gave me permission to come on alone, and like I struggle to say things like should, because it's quite forceful, but I kind of feel most businesses should consider hosting some kind of small event, right? And this is why. It's really straightforward, okay? So we're trying to grow our businesses always, right? We want new clients, we want new people. We're perhaps striving on social media to go from 400 to 600 followers and engage and everything else. And a lot of what we do in small business world is one way, right? One way. We're putting out content, we're putting out this, we do a bit of chatting in LinkedIn, we might go and do a bit of network, someone else is networking, and we might do all of these things that we put under the banner of marketing. Okay, so marketing is a catch-all phrase. Why not invite people to come to you, right? And this is where it started with us. It started with us I used to drive lots for work. I was an area manager, all those sorts of things. And I always remember, always Radio 1. I'm still a Radio 1 kid because they have new music. I love new music,
yeah,
right? And on Radio 1 at Christmas, they always
we've lost you there.
Talk about office party press. Oh, am I back?
Oh, no, got you back. Yeah, they were talking.
Sorry about that.
Office parties.
Yeah, so Radio 1 would always talk about office parties as I was driving around by myself. It was pretty soul destroying. So when we entered into kind of couplepreneur world, It's still pretty boring. You sat at home by yourself. So we said, do you know what? Let's invite everyone to our house. So we put out posts on social media and said, we're having a coffee morning, come round and join. And we had about 10 people come round. Some we knew, some we'd never met before. We had mince pies and coffee. It was December. Fab. And then, as always with Emily and I, we're very quick at doing something, and then we realize why we did it, right? It happens a lot. And then we go, actually, this is really good, because not only are we ticking our kind of personal needs, having a bit of fun, but we are, and I've made a list because this is quite important. So we don't have an opt-in. So there's big speak about you need an opt-in, get people to opt in to get their email address. We don't, we put on events. So we put on events and we invite people for coffee mornings and webinars, and that's how we capture their email address. You know, it's good for reputational growth. So in a world of kind of one-on-one networking, what about just boosting your brand and your reputational growth and creating things that's going to do that? And events as simple as a networking meeting, coffee morning can do that. And you want to grow your audience always. Okay, there's something we're all trying to do, is just grow that bit bigger. And hosting an event can do that, because it will break you out into new kind of hashtags and directions, and people will talk about you and everything else. This is the main one, was to create two-way conversation. Absolutely. So Emily and I were vlogging for 100 days, right? 100 days, lockdown hit. We were putting out 10-minute vlogs every day for 100 days. 30 days in, we went, this is very one-directional again. We need to make this two-directional. So we created another opportunity for people to come and have a chat. And with our business head on, it was an opportunity to validate us, opportunity to chat to us. And we were finding people who wanted to become clients were coming to meet us to just check we knew what we talked about. We knew, you know, we were nice enough people, personal brand, always paramount. And they were great. And we were just having fun and meeting new people and kind of growing our business onto the knock-on. It's like, I always think it's like going on a date, right? The number one reason for going on a date with someone should be to have fun, right? If anything else happens, amazing. But it should be, you should go and have fun with them first. If then you can enter into a relationship, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, minefield, couple, then happy days, right? Happy days. What else is that? Social content. We all wonder what to put on social media. Create an event. You've got something to talk about on social media that's a bit more than check out this green chair I saw today. You know, it can give you macro content. So you could, I don't know, if it's on Zoom, you can kind of record it, chunk it up, blog about it, you know, record a podcast, invite everyone over to record a 10. Oh, I'm writing that down. That's my idea, right? 10-person podcast. Oh, I like that a lot. 10-person.
It's still happening.
Podcast the coffee morning podcast. Right, I've got it right. Smart. Trademark Yellow Tuxedo.
Yeah, we heard it here first. Breaking news.
And then there's this bit that we're really big in Yellow Tuxedo, and we have to reiterate that it's not about wearing yellow and going, "Whoa, check me out," but standing out from the crowd, being different. And you know, we look at these people who host networking events, and we go, "Oh, I'm going to that networking event. I'm going to that networking event." Why not invite people to your networking event? We host monthly coffee mornings, maximum 10 people, because we want to have a chat. They're always on Zoom, and people come. It's part of our social content. We have an automation in MailerLite. We've made it very, very simple. It takes about 20 minutes once a month to schedule some stuff for it. And that's it. And once a month, we chat with 10 people. That's an event, you know. Yes, we can talk about the Digital Circus Live on the 5th of April, but it can start small just by bringing people in and having a chat with them.
I think that's sorry, carry on.
Sorry, I was just going to say, these events and this one-to-one, and people, like, it's almost like you're building up your own, like you say, I love the word that you use, reputation, because it is that know, like, trust factor of getting to know someone, trusting them to go, oh, definitely want to work with them. You can't escape that. I think this is really important. And also referrals. You'll remember that person a lot. I don't care how many times you might have seen somebody on email, but when you've got a bond with someone, you're more likely to refer them. So that's the whole point. You're doing your own PR there. But equally, the joy of this is that to see how this really varies in different sizes, it's really good to see from a small business that might be going, oh, like you say, they just might think they have to go to everybody else's. Whereas, you know, for us, it's like, well, this is kind of an event because we're inviting people in and we're
Exactly.
like, you know, again, we can share that out and we can invite, you know, people to join the discussion. So again, I love the way that you break that down into so many different opportunities. Sorry, Karen, what were you going to say?
I've forgotten now. I remember, and then listening to you now, so I've forgotten.
That's okay.
Sorry.
Come back. I'm sorry about that. I was like, oh.
But I think that's really key. Like we have to accept there are some people who are just going to want to do their business, right? They've got enough business. They like keeping it simple, right? Happy days, okay. But I think I'm, you know, and please, anyone who's watching this, you guys, let me know if I'm wrong here. But I think the majority of us are always trying to insert growth word here, right? A couple more clients, a bigger business, whatever, right? I just feel, or get to the place you want to be, let alone bigger, you know, to get to your benchmark. I just feel that the majority of businesses are in that world. Otherwise, why are we all on social media and doing what we're doing, right? So we must be trying to get somewhere. And just by doing a live stream, a podcast, a coffee morning, a one-day virtual global event, you know, the Digital Circus Live is just that bit more. And it starts as someone once said to a kind of business coach. No, he is a business coach and he is a friend, not kind of. And we were talking, he's like, why do you bother with these coffee mornings? Because they must take up like time and effort and you must get the same people. And we go, we do. But we love them, number one reason. And he kind of stopped there and then. And then we listed off all these other reasons we do them. And he's like, yeah, fair point. Now I get it. I get it. You know, it's and I said, you most businesses are trying to work out what to put on social media. You put on an event, you've got it. You know, that's what you put on social media. And all of a sudden it's very different to, you go on Instagram, right? There's a lot of B2B businesses who are on Instagram, no disrespect to any of them always. And it's just a stream of kind of Canva created artwork, right? Fine. It's not very exciting, but fine. Especially I always find when they're solopreneurs, because it's, well, I know it's you in your business, so why don't you show me you? But all of a sudden you interject things like, you know, come and join me for a coffee on Friday or whatever. It's a very different feeling and it's very enticing. And, you know, tell me if I'm wrong again, please do. But it's quite boring working from home by yourself. And actually, we all want the opportunity to tell our story or chat a bit more. And that's why when people ask us, like you guys, to come, I'm like, yeah, I'm here. I want to share the Yellow Tuxedo message. You know, I want to help as many other businesses as we can. And surely a lot of businesses are like that. So giving people the opportunity to come to your event and be involved is an amazing thing.
And also that's the location. And again, let's talk about Digital Circus Live, because we've talked about small business. And this is, again, the joy. You would have tried and tested. We talk about the fear of the internet coming undone. What's the best platform? This is your second year, Digital Circus Live. 2022, April 5th. I've got my ticket.
Yes.
So what we'll do is tell us a little bit more about, you know, why it was important to put it at this bigger scale. It's obviously accessible for a lot more people. Lessons learned. Tell us more.
Yeah.
About this as well.
Say that again, Chris. I missed the last bit. So.
Why do we need to know about Digital Circus Live?
Hold on. Let me start with where it came from, if that's okay, right? So sometime during, Emily and I always done events, always done outdoor events, right? And we knew we'd do an event. And when we started the Digital Circus membership, and the Digital Circus membership is very important to understand why it exists. And it exists because when lockdown happened, we were still in the wedding world. We were like the back end of our decade in the wedding world. And a lot of wedding businesses overnight lost their main marketing stream of wedding fairs. And Emily and I had this skill set that we'd grown our wedding business using, that we were now helping other people know how to do it with Yellow Tuxedo. And we wanted to help as many wedding businesses as we could. So we created an accessible, it's like £20 a month membership called the Digital Circus, where we basically impart all of the skills to grow your business online, everything, SEO, content creation, strategy, what to talk about, Instagram, MailerLite, YouTube, everything is covered, as long as you want to come to the sessions and watch them. And we always knew there would be an event for that. And in it before lockdown, and you know, before we realized how long COVID was going to be about, it would have been a big top in a field. But we very quickly realized it can't be in a field. Zoom was around, it was doing, you know, it won. How it won against Skype, goodness knows, right? But it won the battle for kind of online video calling and chatting. And we knew we needed something. We knew we wanted to do something. We wanted it to be under the same brand, the Digital Circus. That's our kind of accessible mass kind of part offering. I was trying not to be businessy, and I came straight back to it, mass offering, you know. And so we wanted it to be different. Now, there was a couple of other things that were happening at the same time. People were missing festivals. So I think we were approaching the summer of the lockdown one, and there was talk about Glastonbury not going ahead, Bournemouth Sevens, because we know Dodge, you like to reference him, and everything else. And festivals weren't going ahead. And we'd put an Insta story out going, what do you miss about festivals? And kind of enter here, and people had mentioned the kind of food, wandering around. So, and at the same time, there's an element of luck here. Same time, I'd had a conversation with my sister, who works for quite a large multinational company, who'd just gone to a conference using a platform like Hopin. And I'll come to what Hopin is in 1 second. And I like light bulb moment, like, because Hopin hadn't made it to small business world. So we're like, we're going to bring Hopin to small business world. We're going to make it feel like a festival, and we are going to put on, and if fun is the #1 KPI, right? Always is with Yellow Tuxedo. It's our only KPI, not #1. And that is what we're going to do. And what Hopin allowed us to do in a Zoom fatigue environment was change who chooses what you do. So in Zoom, the host chooses what you do. In Hopin, you choose what you do. And the easiest way to think about it is like a conference center. You open up the web page, you walk through the door. There are 4 zones you've got the main arena, the main stage, you've got the workshops, you've got the expo tent, and then you've got a speed networking area. Like you would if you were at the Bournemouth NEC, right? It would all be there. And all this happens on your screen, and you choose when you come and go. So if you've got to answer the door or pop to a meeting, you log out and go and do it, and you come back. There's no one, you're not in a waiting room being waiting to let in. You choose who you speak to, who you're inspired by, what workshop you want to learn in, what expo booths you want to go and talk about collaborations with, and when you want to go networking. You choose all of that. And it's £49 a ticket, right? So we desire to be accessible, okay? So this is none of these marketing conferences for 1,500 quid with Deborah Meaden. None of that. Once again, not wrong. It has its place over here. But we wanted accessible. We wanted real people, real stories, real adventures. Like this year, we've got Lucy. I'm in proper serious mode today. We've got Lucy Jeffrey off Bearkind, you know, sharing her adventure from side hustle to digital nomad. We've got James and Kelly West, Only Networking, who were in-person networking, who moved and stayed online, and now are opening up networking around the country and around the world. They've opened up New York. So they're talking about, you know, everyone's a global business. We've got people talking about connecting with your audience. We've got a lady who in lockdown got onto TikTok, smashed her part of TikTok, took her 2 years and 4 attempts, but she did it. So she's going to share that with us. We've got workshops on selling. We've got workshops on confidence. We've got workshops of more reviewing your content. We've got workshops on video creation. You know, we've got 10 workshops, 4 keynote speakers, an expo tent, and a speed networking area where you go in and you press a button and it pairs you with the next available person. It's proper like exciting. And all of this happens on your screen. And we got the best bit of feedback last year. Bear in mind, it came from this conversation about festivals. We had the best feedback when someone wrote, Trisha Lewis, I can say it because she put it on public. Trisha Lewis wrote on her LinkedIn, I feel like I've been in a conference center all day. I've had an amazing day, met lots of new people, fun, blah, 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 because I can't remember the exact quote. And I've not even left my chair. And that is exactly what we wanted to create. And that was the feedback we got. And the other thing is we touched on that. Did we touch on this before or during the we're all global businesses, okay? And you need to understand that. But even if you run a corner shop where you sell cakes to the people who walk past, you're still a global business. The second you put something on the internet, and there are businesses who don't have a social presence and no website, but a very small minority, the vast majority do. The second you do that, you're a global business. So embrace it, make the most from it, and kind of appeal to that global 7.6 billion. If you only need 20 clients a year, 1,000 clients a year, 10,000 clients a year, the odds are stacked in your favor better playing 7.6 billion as opposed to the people walking past the front of your door. And that's what this is all about.
Yeah.
I need Emily here.
I think that's really important, you know, well, I mean, things like with Brexit and that's what was worrying me. I thought, well, you know, things here are getting really expensive. People are struggling. You know, if you can't get the local business, you know, one of the things that I focused on initially was, you know, looking at my local area, but it's quite a small pot. And if there's so many other people in that same market, you know, they're all going for that same business. What the internet gives us, especially after the pandemic, now that people are now used to being online. I mean, I used to actually be turned away for certain work because they wanted to meet someone in person and be there local. That's kind of gone out the window now, where people are quite happy now from anywhere in the world. I'm getting clients from Canada, US, and Europe, where they've got used to dealing on Zoom. Yeah. So it's not an issue anymore. You know, they can't meet up in person. Maybe now they can start to again, but they've got used to this whole idea. So I think you're right about that whole global thing. And I remember my point from earlier, quickly, was, you know, going from a small event to a big one-day event. I think you've got to start small. I think sometimes people go for that big thing first, and actually there's a lot of work involved in it.
Yes.
Even doing a show like this one, and I do my show on a Tuesday, initially was taking me up a lot of time, and I was like, you know, a big chunk of my week was sort of sorting out. But as I automated more and more the processes and got really streamlined, it's actually now takes me very little time each week. Or I do it like over a month, so getting all the guests over a month, get that all set up, and it's kind of a morning a month that I get that all set out.
But you have to do that setup piece. You know, last year was massively more difficult than this year because we had it all set up and we'd worked out that hopping was that. Last year we had to work out what was the right platform. You know, this year we knew what platform we were going to use. So no, I totally agree. One other little bit on this global business thing, if that's okay. Have you ever heard the phrase the creator economy?
Yes.
Cool. Thank God.
I've heard the sharing economy and all of that, but no, not the creator.
Right. So the creator economy is fundamentally the YouTubers, the OnlyFans, and all these other individuals, these creators who are making their business from being creators on social media and social search engines, etc. You know, and the easiest way to think about that is people like Mr. Beast and Casey Neistat on YouTube, and people are millions of subscribers and making money. When that comes down to our world as small business owners, we find a lot of small business owners are creating content to put online and trying to grow their core, the reason they started their business. But fundamentally, there are, and it's the fastest growing economy out there at the moment, especially with things like lockdown, moving everyone online, and OnlyFans has, you know, taken over massively for all the right and wrong reasons. But as small business owners, it takes us this bit longer to understand the potential opportunity. And when we look at economies like the creator economy, and that's as simple as kind of monetizing your channel, not as simple as getting there, but as simplistic example of monetizing your YouTube channel, affiliate links, courses, and all these other things, but all of a sudden, it kind of changes the dynamic of what you can be doing as your business because of the opportunity part. One of the things I forgot to mention about the Digital Circus Live, actually, I forgot to mention a key part. Emily, if you're watching this back, I'm sorry. It's the whole day is a celebration of digital visibility, business growth, and opportunity, because it's all about businesses growing their business digitally and making the most of the opportunities that are available from doing that. And once again, the opportunities are as simple as making new friends all the way up to new revenue streams, you know, and we've got some workshops on new revenue streams about digital as well in the workshop area. So yeah, but it's looking at these other economies, because I find when you're in your business, it's very much, I'm in my business, I'm doing this. And we have to really try and look outside and look at what other people are doing. Like the creator economy is a great place to look, because a lot of small businesses are creating. You're creating, you know, we create content content for social media. We're all doing it, but we don't see it as creating. We're going, oh, I'm just putting something on social media. And it's just understanding the parts of the process as we grow. So that's it.
No, well done. We have all of the information below on how to meet and get to know Yellow Tuxedo, how to learn more about Digital Circus, and more importantly, how to also get your ticket for Digital Circus Live. Sounds amazing. You've done.
Do you know what, Christelle? We've got a really easy link. Thank you. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Easy link. www.thedigitalcircus.live. That's it. That's all you need to remember. Thedigitalcircus.live.
Even better. So we've got that there. Thank you so much for coming. And I mean, there's loads of, oh my God, some brilliant tips, and well, advice as well as to why you should be thinking about events for your business, how it can go from sort of low key all the way up. Again, I love that point about creator mode. It is, I think what we were saying about global, it is a case of the different streams of income. That's why I know Karen and I, we've been looking at, if we're going to do this, like, what does that lead into? What's the strategy behind it? Not just post up, you know, senselessly because we need to be seen and we need to attract viewers on reels. It's like, whilst reels are good, have a bit of a strategy behind it. It's all got to lead to somewhere. You've got to have some sort of return on that effort. So thank you so much. And
thank you for having me.
Digital Circus Live and get lots of more ideas, isn't it? What to do with it.
And meet other people with this. It's on a Tuesday the 5th of April. And it's all day, but like I say, because it's on Hopin, if you've got meetings, you can leave. Everything's available on replay. Honestly, right? You know, when you have something that you really, truly believe can benefit every single business owner and brand kind of out there, we have that, and it drives us insane trying to get this message out and kind of get people to come along. It's like we feel it's affordable, and if you grow a business, and you own a business, and you do even anything online, find me anyone that doesn't, and you want your business to grow a little bit more, or you just want to come networking for the day because really that's what you like to do, it covers all of that. And surely that is the vast majority of businesses out there. So I sometimes I feel like I want to do a Bob Geldof moment, like for Live Aid or something. You know, I'm not going to do it. I'll save it for a reel or something.
I know, it's all these ideas coming out. This is brilliant. So guys, we will see you. Thank you so much for joining. If you have any questions, post them in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe, and we will see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye.